So Mike, you were reading an article about insider threat and insiders taking information with them out of the company. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah. Information Security Magazine recently did a piece on some surveys that were performed in Europe where they took a sample of about 4,000 people and asked them about their willingness to leak or sell corporate data or access. And there were some interesting points that came out of that study. Of those surveyed, about 30% had purposely sent data outside of their organization at some point in time. And about 15% of those responding had taken business critical information with them upon exiting the business. So when you start looking at employee turnover, particularly of individuals that have privileged access, that have broad access inside of an organization that can take that type of information, that does become a significant concern. Interestingly, about 60% of the people that took that business critical information, so about 7-8% of responders, had planned to use that information in their next job.
So how do you protect yourself against somebody who now doesn't work for the company and has absolutely no loyalty to that company when they leave? That's a whole nother side where, the things that you need to do as a company is to make sure that you have a very concise and specific exit policy when an individual leaves a company, where access is removed immediately, all access to proprietary information is removed. So I think that's a key as well.
So did they talk at all about the motivations of such people? I mean, what reasoning would they give for why they did such a thing?
Of those that responded, about 14% of the people that were interviewed said that they would actually sell their corporate logins to folks on the outside or sell that data for less than about $250 US. But about a little over 20% of the respondents simply didn't believe that data breaches really actually impacted their employer at all.
The impact isn't apparent to them. To them, it's not a data breach. Someone may ask them, hey, can I use your credentials after you've left the company to do something to the company? And they may feel, well, there's no impact to that. What was I really working on that was so important? But there's more to it than that. That gives them potentially access to other systems from which someone can pivot through the company. It's an initial foothold they can use to attack the company further.
Reuters published an article where they looked at 65 companies that had been affected by a large data breach that had significant consequences. And what they found was that on average that there was a 1.8% drop in that company's market cap on a permanent basis. When you start talking about large publicly held organizations, that can be a very, very large number, which can directly translate to people getting bonus checks and directly hurt people, at an individual financial level.
That message that Mike's talking about getting, them to understand, like, hey, look, that ID that you're logging in with, down in the factory floor, is an ID that, if somebody else got a hold of, could potentially, cause problems for us.
It reminds me of Brian Krebs on security. He's got, I think it's the value of a hacked email account. And that's the sort of thing I would show to one of those people and say, look, you may not think there's anything valuable in your email accounts. And by the way, I think most people do have something valuable, which is access to all their other accounts, which is you can get for the password reset. Right. But to show them that there's something more to it than what they think, their personal correspondence or the jokes that grandma sends them, that there's actually something worth keeping safe, even in their own personal email and certainly in their corporate email.
Right. Yeah.
I think that studies like this do allow us to have guideposts that can help us make some adjustments and then correlate that with some other information.
Whether it be the information that they handle or the credentials that they're given to access the network, they have to understand what that value actually is. So a strong, obviously, security awareness program within a company, I think, is extremely important.